guys, welcome to the workshop. One of my favorite things at the workshop is having school groups come in and we do a project at the workshop, or I'll go to a school and work with you there. But sadly, for your field trip that you were planning on coming to, you're not going to be able to come because everyone is at home for a while. So instead, we're going to do a virtual field trip. So we will give this a try and see how it goes. We're going to make some clay crosses for Easter. That's what you were going to come in and do, and we're still going to be able to do that. But right now, we're going to make the clay part. I'm going to start by showing you how I would make the clay if you had come into the studio to work, or if I had come into your classroom and work with you with the tools that I have. And then I have a volunteer who's going to help me show how you could do it at home using things that you have around the house. So what you will get when you go to school is a little ball of clay in a bag. When you pick up your materials for the week, just open it up. Can't get my bag open. You have a ball like this. And then I would take and flatten it a little bit, and then use my clay rolling pin and roll it out into a long skinny strip. Sometimes it gets wrapped around the rolling pin like that. I just open it back up. And I want it to be, I don't know, about 1/8 of an inch thick. Something like that would be good for this project. So I have a long, skinny piece. So I would take a ruler to help give me a straight edge, and I'm going to cut the long piece. The piece that I rolled out is about 6.5 inches, and I probably will end up with about maybe 6 inches of that for the long stretch. If I want it to be just as wide as my ruler is, I would just take and do it right there. I maybe want it a little wider, so I'm going to set my ruler over just a little bit, and then take my cutter and go down. Instead of a cutter, I have a couple different options for you that we'll test out with our, like I said, with our volunteer. So I have this long skinny piece for that part. I'm going to cut off so my ends are straight on the top and the bottom, but you don't have to. You know, you can do yours however you want. It can be with a nice slant. So I have these leftover pieces. I'm going to take and roll them back together and smush them in. Sometimes people smack it together, smack it down on the table. Until I get a new piece to roll out, I'll set this one over to the side. And I'm going to take and roll out my cross piece, the part that's going to go across. I want it to be about as wide as the first piece. My rolling pin's going to roll right off the table. And I was going to roll out that way. We are just going to cut. I'm going to move over just a little bit like I did that way. And I have these leftover pieces, which we'll use for something else. And I can lay it across and see how it looks. It looks a little bit too long, and that's okay, because I need some for the other part. I'll just cut off both sides there, and it's all set to go. So right now I'm just going to set that aside, and then I'm going to make the middle piece. So what I would do for that is take and smush those back together again. This clay is pretty wet that you're working with, so it should work out pretty well just to smush it back together at this point and be able to reuse it. If it's drier, then you have to work a little bit more to get it usable again. So I'm going to roll out this piece, and then I have some little cutters, but I have some ideas for you for that too. To do something in the center, I'm going to do a squarish piece that will go in the middle, and then I'm going to do a heart as well. And so I've cut those pieces. That extra I'll just set to the side. So then you could just add these pieces like this, and I'll show you how to connect them. But instead, I think we're going to add some texture. And what I would do to add texture, I have some of these texture plates or floppy things. Mats. Thank you, Simon. So if I wanted to put that texture on the cross, I maybe would take and put it like that, and I could use my rolling pin to go over very lightly, or I could press down with my hand. You just have to be careful when you're putting any type of texture in that you do it lightly enough that you could still peel it off. This one too, I think I'll put that on there and just lightly go over with my rolling pin. And I'm going to get all of my pieces textured, and then I will assemble them all together. So this one, maybe I would take a scrapbooky stamp, and that's something you might have at home that you could use to add some texture to. Again, lightly enough that I could still peel it off. Then for my little heart, oh, maybe I'll just take this tool and I'll give it some crisscrosses. Just to give it some design to it, something for the paint or the glaze to sink into. Alright, then to attach it, grab my water. This is something you can do at home too, an old yogurt container and an old toothbrush. And if you don't have that, you could just use your finger and you could just scratch up the surface a little with one of your tools that you'll have and add some water. But the toothbrush works really slick. You just dip it in the water, you get the part wet that you're going to stick down to. You get the part wet that on both of these pieces, the top piece also, and then you just take and press them together. If you just press them together without the water and the slip and score, they call it. The slip is the sticky glue type stuff that gets created with the water, and the score are the scratchy marks that the toothbrush creates on there. So if you don't have those things, then it does not want to stick together. It might stick together a little bit when you start, but then when you put it in the kiln and fire it, it falls apart, and that would be sad if your cross fell apart after this. So then I'll do it the same thing for the next part. I'm just going to put some water on there, and then some water on here, and put my next layer on, and I'll do the same for the top layer. Just like that. Oops, I just probably put a little bit on here too. And then press that in place. And then that is pretty much it. Then this piece is all ready to go. Okay guys, so here is our volunteer Ellie, and she is going to work on a clay cross using things that you might have at home. So the first thing we did for our work surface, instead of the canvas board like what I was using, we are putting down a plastic zip bag and taping it to the table. You could also maybe tape down some wax paper, some foil, some regular paper. You can kind of see what works for you, but we're going to try it with this and see how it goes. We also, some other items that we have the thing of water, the yogurt container of water. We'll use the same old toothbrush that I used, popsicle stick, a plastic silverware, scrapbooky stamps might work too, maybe one of these milk caps, and let's give it a try, and let's see if Ellie could do the same thing that I did using not the tools and stuff that I would have at the shop, but things that you would have at home. So, the bag that you would get when you pick up your supplies at school. Open it up, lady. Alright, so for the rolling pin, what we did was we covered the rolling pin in plastic and just taped that on there a little bit, and we'll see if this works. I don't know. Kind of roll it out. I did. Yep, it sticks just a little bit more to the plastic than it did to the canvas mat that I had been using, but it seems to kind of be working, so that's good. Okay. How's it coming off? I think that is going to be the hardest thing, is that it might not want to come off of that plastic as easily. So you have to be very gentle. Yep, you can use the knife a little bit. Ah! So why don't you take your first piece along here for your long piece and just set that over to the side. So if you want the ruler to help guide you, you have a couple of options. You can use the knife like Ellie's using there to cut. Otherwise, you could use a popsicle stick, or you could use a nail. A sharp nail would be kind of like the sharp end for that pin cutter that I was using. Ellie's choosing the plastic knife. That seems to be a good choice. I go wider.
It doesn't seem as easy.
It doesn't seem as easy. But it works. If the clay is very wet and feels too wet and it's too sticky, you could just let it sit and dry a little bit before you work with it more. Alright, set that piece aside. That looks good for your long piece on the cross. Now why don't you try the across piece. Roll it up into a ball and try rolling that one out. Another tool that you could use too, sometimes you get these little rollers with Play-Doh. So if you have a Play-Doh rolling pin, just have to clean it off good from the Play-Doh and then off of the clay again afterwards before you use it on your Play-Doh. But it's another option.
Okay.
So Ellie's getting a good piece all set for her cross, a crossed part on the cross. Do you want me to help you? It's kind of working. Go from the other side then. Yeah, it does stick a little bit more to the plastic than it does to my canvas board, but it still seems to kind of be working. You have to pull it from the other side. Part of it is just not pressing quite so hard and being gentle when you're removing.
I think you're gonna have to redo that one.
No, I don't think so. I think she can still use it. Can you hear Simon in the background giving commentary? He's doing the video on this video.
I'm doing the video on this video.
You are. All right, can you use your, that one to cut? It's very quiet all of a sudden. She's concentrating so hard. There you go.
Yay!
Yay! Okay. So now I should just let you do it. Stand back.
Ellie, did
Okay,
you
ball up all of your extra pieces so that they are out of the way.
Ellie, did you know that it wasn't even?
It's okay. It looks neat like that. All right, then take your tools, get them out of the way.
It does.
Now first put your other, let's put the crust together to see how it looks. Why don't you put it in the middle so you can kind of see?
Yeah, I can see it better.
Okay, it's okay. Yeah, just smooth it over. There you go.
Can I cut the inside?
Yeah, cut it off so that it looks like how you want it to look afterwards. Yep, or you're going to use the popsicle stick for a cutter. That works out super well. And then across on the sides. There you go. Then gently pick the whole thing up and set it to the side so you can work on the middle pieces that you want to add to it. You can set it on the table. That's okay.
Okay, gently.
All right. Take all those extra pieces, roll it in. You might even take your popsicle stick you had there and sort of, scrape away any clay that's stuck down to the bag. More just because it's going to want to stick to that clay, but you can add it in if you want to.
I can stick to clay.
Yeah, because it's wet. The clay does want to stick to other clay.
But it's not scored.
No.
So it won't be slipped and scored.
No, so it would not lastingly stay attached, but it kind of does make it more difficult to roll out. Okay, then take it off and move it if it sticks to the rolling pin. There you go. Okay, so if you wanted to do a circle, maybe, to put in the center of your cross, or you can use the milk cap like this, that kind of works. If you're going to do that and you just press it down, it's going to get stuck inside of that milk cap. So there's two things you can do. One, you could put it like this, and then you could take, where did that nail go? Over here. And you could cut around it with the nail. That would be one way. The other way is to use a little piece of plastic wrap and put that underneath, and then you can pop it out that way. Give it a try. See how it works.
Oh, and how it really stays in the cap.
No, not really. So see if you can peel that out. Just peel it off. You should be able to pick it up. There you go. There. So then you have a nice little circle you can put in the middle. You just set that to the side. Did you want to do a heart or something else, or a diamond on top of that?
Yeah.
Okay, so ball that back up. She's going around and just freehanding a little heart. If you want that to go on top of the circle, I think
You did.
will it work?
Yeah.
Okay, so now add your texture. Clear up your supplies off of your workspace. The one thing when you're adding your texture, you don't want to press too hard. Otherwise it'll stick it and get too flat. Okay, so some different things that you can do to use texture. You can use a fork to do a design. You could poke with it. You could scrape with it.
use a nail.
You can use the nail to make designs. You should use a shoe on the cross.
You can use
You can take the bottom of your tennis shoe has some nice tread marks on it.
Simon's
Or
shoe.
the bottom of Simon's shoe. You might have to do a couple different presses with it. So maybe Simon's shoe treads are kind of worn off there.
From school.
Yes. That looks pretty cool though. It gave you some good, remember don't press too hard that it gets stuck right down to the plastic again though. Yes, you can see it. You like that? Okay, so kind of set it across. And then, what are you going to do to that one? The little circle straw marks. Just don't go all the way through.
Yeah, don't go all the way through. All the way down.
There you go. Alright, then slip and score to attach it all together.
How long is this going to take?
How long is what going to take?
How long is this video?
Say on the recording
I don't know how long it's going to take. I guess we'll see.
how long it took.
We would have to put the 2 parts together.
Yes, we'll have to put the 2 parts together. Me doing it and Ellie doing it.
And a lot of editing of Simon talking.
No, you don't have to edit everything I say.
So if you can see, Ellie has dipped the toothbrush in the water, got water on it so it's nice and wet. And then she's pressing those firmly together. Not too firmly because you don't want to get rid of your cool marks that you put on it. And then she needs to take the straw. You have to take the straw first and put the,
If you want to.
okay.
If you want to.
If you want to be able to hang it, to put a hole in the top to hang it.
If you want.
And she's taking a little piece of straw, pressing that in to make a hole. It was stuck down, so her hole didn't want to come out with the straw. There you go. Are you going to take and add yours to the thing over there? The straw and punch out a little hole to hang from mine too. Here's a picture of what some of the crosses are that we have finished already, what the clay ones look like before they are fired, just so you have an idea of what you're looking for. Remember we have the tall piece, the across piece, and then some type of, this one has a circle with a heart, this one has a diamond shape with a heart in the middle, circle with a heart, and this one on the end too is circle with a heart. So you can decide how you want to design your cross. These all have the hole punched in the top so that we can hang them when they are all done. One more thing that we're going to show is how to clean up your hands when you are done with this project. Because you don't, and your tools, if you're going to reuse these tools, you don't want this clay to go down your drain. So you take your water that you have in your yogurt container or some other tub. An ice cream bucket actually works really well because it's a little bit bigger. And then first just kind of rinse your hands in there so that you get most of the clay dust off of your hands before you go and wash in the sink. So clean it off like that. I have a towel back here, so I would just wipe my hands on the towel and then I would go wash up in the sink. You could use paper towel. Alright, so here's just a picture of some of the crosses after they have been fired and glazed and then fired again and decorated, just so you can see kind of what they look like. When your cross is all done, you'll send the cross back to school and then I'll fire them in the kiln. And after that you'll get it back and you can add paint or glaze and we'll see where we're at for the end of the school year, how we go about finishing these projects up. So thanks for coming to the virtual field trip. It's not really as fun for me as when you're actually here working with me, but hopefully you can still do this fun project at home and still get to do some neat art. Bye guys!